Alright guys, what's going on? It's Jacob. In this video we're going to talk about one of the biggest things I see holding people back online. It's honestly something that frustrates me a lot. I think it's a cop-out. I think it comes back down to laziness, desire, want, all these kind of things. And I think it holds a lot of people back. I think a lot of people won't do the self-reflection to admit that they're doing this. And if this video can bring light to one person who might be doing it, that can do a bit of a self-audit and overcome it and not do it anymore, it will serve its purpose and it will help out that person. And I think it'll probably help a few people along the way. Even if this video doesn't give the immediate epiphany that it needs to, it may lead to an epiphany down the track, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Before we dive into it, check out the Super Affiliate Accelerator. There's a link in the description. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you get notified whenever I drop a new video. If this does set off any light bulbs, hit the like button and leave any questions or comments you got below. I'll do my best to get back to you throughout the week. Okay, so I've been doing this affiliate marketing stuff for quite a few years now and run my own program as well. We've got, at the time of filming this, 250 students in that program. And the more you work with people, the more you identify trends and characteristics, traits, if you will, of people who do well and people who don't, or people who shoot the lights out and people who struggle, whatever you want to call it, right? And you can probably identify these in yourself as well, but the bigger sample size you get, the more exposure you get to people in certain circumstances and certain dynamics, you can start to develop more understanding, at a bigger scale, right? And you can do this without needing to be in the position where you're running your own programs and stuff. You can do this just from observing, over on Facebook in particular. You just watch people and you can tell how and why people do well and how and why people don't do well. You can do a lot from just kind of analyzing what people do. So one of the tips I give my students is don't always just listen to what people are saying. Listen to how they're saying it and look at what they are doing. Look at their structures. Look at the next level down when you're analyzing something, and you can learn a shitload. Usually you can learn more than what they're actually saying. Especially if you've got aligned goals with that person. If you're watching someone trying to achieve what they have achieved or are achieving, you can learn a lot by deconstructing what they're doing, in addition to just listening to what they are saying. But the point is, this problem, this thing that really grinds on me is I don't even really know how to kind of catch all it, like one catch phrase for it all, but it comes down to a couple of things. There's lack of the amount of lack of initiative that I see out there, the amount of lack of resourcefulness, right? The dependency on other people to fix your problems when something comes up. And I don't know if it goes so far as flowing into kind of the victim mindset I think a lot of people get stuck in. But I think the easiest way to wrap it up is a lack of want and desire to do some basic troubleshooting and problem solving, right? Like, when you face a problem, the difference between the people who do well and the people who don't is your capacity to overcome that problem and keep pushing on. Right now, I'm not saying don't use the resources at your disposal, right? But if you're the type of person who throws their hands up in the air the second something goes wrong and pushes it all onto somebody else, right, onto a coach or onto a mentor, and says, you fix this, or what's the answer, right? If you don't deploy any appetite to problem solve, you're never going to develop that skill set well enough. And it's so critical. Back when I used to work in finance in the very early days when I was like a graduate, one of the things they taught us was we kind of had this big open plan office, and then down the end of the office were the partners, and you'd have to, go down and see them maybe a couple of times a day with different things as they popped up on different jobs. And I worked in an industry that was distressed corporate, and so we were dealing with interesting problems all the time. And one of the things they taught us very early on was, when you go to those people, the partners, to talk about something, always take a solution, right? Even if it's not right, go prepared with your thoughts on the issue, right? So this issue pops up, you ultimately don't have the authority to execute on a plan at that point, and you go to get their advice. If you walked into their office and you just took them the problem and dumped it on their desk, so to speak, they'd go away and come back when you've had to think about this, right? Or if you just palm the problem off, right? Or even if maybe you've thought about it, but you've not constructed any views on a recommended action plan or a solution, or at least even had a go at trying to fix it yourself by, troubleshooting with obvious shit, that wasn't good, right? That was one of the things they rammed into us really, really early on. And I think what that did was it created a really good problem-solving culture. People knew when a problem comes up that you do your best to, is there easy things we can do to fix it? Is there common sense stuff here we can do to fix it? Can we use the resources that we've got at our disposal to fix this so we don't have to bother the people higher up the tree? And if there's not, and I do need to go talk to them about it because it's a more serious or a more complex issue, I'm going to spend the time thinking about this. I'm going to formulate a strategy. I'm going to formulate a plan for us to talk about. And even if they thought that it was a stupid plan, you're at least showing preparedness. You're at least showing some initiative. You're at least showing some resourcefulness. You're at least showing that you care. You're at least showing that you're willing to have a go and kind of put it out there and then talk about it with someone who's got more experience. But I think a problem that I see with people is that when a problem pops up, is there's a lack of appetite to do that, right? Even just to use Google sometimes. Like literally, if you Google some of the questions that I see online, you'll get an answer like that, right? Like you'll literally get an answer like that. I think it gets a little bit different when you kind of get further along and you're looking for people to do things that might be simple, but it's not worth your time. Like I think that becomes a different discussion. But early on, when it's just you, and you're not using any basic problem solving or resourcefulness or initiative, and it's like, I can't find that thing. Stop. I'm gonna wait till someone responds, right? No, like go on Google it, go on YouTube it, go figure it out. Go see what you can solve for yourself, right? Because the benefit there is twofold. One, you're going to get the problem solved faster than waiting for somebody else to answer it. And two, then you're going to know how it's actually done. You're going to know why it works. You're going to know the process, right? And all of those little wins from solving things yourself, the cumulative wins of doing that troubleshooting and doing that problem solving for yourself, that's going to build confidence, and that builds more momentum too, right? There's massive, if you struggle with self-doubt or anything around this online business stuff, doing stuff like that will massively help, right? A good way to stay in a place of doubt is to constantly palm your issues off onto a mentor or a coach and never solve them for yourself, because you just become dependent. Right? You just become dependent on someone else and go, well, I'm going to, whenever I hit a roadblock, someone else will solve it for me. Right? Of course you're going to doubt yourself because you've never had to solve a problem. You've always just palmed it off onto someone instead of going to Google, instead of going to YouTube and taking 10 minutes to try and figure it out. And then if you can't solve it, sure, use the resources at your disposal. Right? Having worked with a lot of students, the ones that do that, the ones that at least take the time to try and figure things out for themselves before approaching coaches and mentors and discussing things through, they say, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I've tried, what are your views on it? That is so much more collaborative and productive and beneficial for all parties You give more context to the person that you're ultimately asking the question of. You show them that you've tried. You've got more subject matter to talk about because they've given something a go. It's just infinitely more beneficial, right? Now, this is a pretty kind of direct topic insofar as if you are doing this, it might be hard to stop and reflect and admit that, you know, you're lacking initiative or you're lacking resourcefulness in that regard. But look, I'd encourage you to have an honest chat with yourself about that topic, because it is honestly one of the biggest contributing factors that I see is people who not going so far that they're afraid to ask a question. That's not what I'm saying, but it's taking that initial step to, okay, this is the problem. Actually understand the problem. I think that's a topic for another day, but actually understanding, okay, this is my issue. How can I attempt to solve this? And then if the answer doesn't jump out to you after you've done a bit of digging and tried to solve it for yourself for those beneficial reasons that we discussed, then you can, you know, go and use your resources, right? This isn't to say don't use the stuff that you've paid for if you've paid for a coach or a mentor. Absolutely. But it's your business, right? This is your thing. They're there to help and support and guide and do all that kind of stuff. But this is your business. And if you constantly just go to other people whenever you've got a little problem, like, you're never going to develop those key problem solving skills that are so critical. Okay. This one's going to be probably not for the masses, this video, but it probably should be, because I think it affects a lot of people. But there's not going to be that many people out there who'll be willing to just kind of self-reflect and go, yep, that's me, I need to fix that. But if it hits a couple of people between the eyes and they say, yeah, I got to stop doing that, and they do deploy more initiative, resourcefulness, I know that they're going to see, you know, a massive improvement in their results. Okay, so this is going to come down to self-reflection. This is going to come down to looking inwards a little bit and going, have I been doing that, or do I, you know, do that on the daily? And then correcting it, you know, doing what we've spoken about. It's putting the time in, putting in a little bit of effort and trying to fix things for yourself, and then going and using the resources that you've got at your disposal. Okay. That will serve you really well. You develop problem solving skills, you develop strategies, you'll understand why things work, which I talk about a lot because it's so important. That's going to mean you're able to replicate things. It's going to mean you're able to teach people things and help other people, which is going to generate you more business. The flow and effects are huge, but it takes the first step of reflecting and going, am I doing or not doing that? And then implementing a plan to fix it. Okay. Hopefully you found that one helpful. It's an interesting topic, and I think it's a really important one that not a lot of people talk about when it comes to being successful with this stuff. Okay. So do a little bit of self-reflection and be honest with yourself and see, is that a problem that you have dealt with, or is that a problem that you're facing, or is that a personality trait of yours that you need to try and change? Because it's pretty important. Okay, check out the Super Affiliate Accelerator if you want to get into high ticket affiliate marketing. Work with me and my team on that, and subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you all soon. Cheers.